Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
According to the World Health Organization, 150 million children globally are living with a disability. Many of them require special teaching to help them learn, become active members of their societies, and if possible, get a job. This week, we look at projects in Ireland, Qatar, and Malta. Severe disabilities can include involuntary body movement and even an inability to speak, meaning that people can become very dependent on their carers. But one organization in Dublin is using new technology to help severely disabled people speak, move around, and communicate more easily.
Artists, doctors, technologists and rehabilitation specialists joined together at Smart Lab to come up with new ways of addressing social issues. The main goal at this Dublin Institute is to enable everyone to speak, move, communicate and learn freely and independently.
The technologies that we develop and work with have a real world-changing impact on the people who engage with them. So it's not just that technology tools enable people to interface with the computer to get a learning curriculum or a learning environment or to interface with a classroom, for instance. They enable people to engage fully with their world.
The key element is equality. Choreographers treat all dancers the same, and disability becomes a part of the performance. When a dancer is in a wheelchair, their partner needs to learn to adapt accordingly.
If one of the dancers can't use their legs, then how can we include that dancer equally with the dancers who can use their legs? And so the technique gets adapted for that dancer's needs, and then it's new to us.
Katie is 23 and has cerebral palsy. She can't control her movement and she can't talk. But thanks to the work of Smart Lab, she can play music with other musicians. Using infrared technology, she plays with her eyes.
The technology we're using, it's an eye gaze system. It's a computer that you control with your eyes, and everything here is more or less normal. It's a touchscreen computer, but underneath there's a camera and some low-level infrared lights, and by the infrared lights reflecting off the pupil, the system can understand where your eyes are looking at.
The system can even cope with Katie's involuntary movements.
When Katie looks there at the start, it makes something happen, and when she goes to yes, she holds her eyes, she can go to the music here. Lovely, lovely. To be able to play music. And then it's like a musical palette.
Smart Lab is proud of its technology that's opened up a whole new world to people like Katie before her very eyes.
I'm lucky enough to be able to play music. People that don't have that ability, especially through disabilities, never get a chance to express themselves through music. And I think that's one of the most amazing things that the eye gaze does, that it allows people to express themselves musically.
My name is Katie Gilligan. I love having an opportunity to create music and dance.
The transition from school to work is always a challenge, and even more so for people with disabilities. But one school in Qatar aims to pave the way by offering young people classes to prepare them to life in the workplace. The Shafallah Post-School Community Services program helps graduates of the Shafallah Center choose a career and find a job. Let's have a look.
Ibrahim is profoundly deaf and can only sense the music he's playing by feeling its vibrations. But his dream is to become a famous musician one day. At the Shafallah Center for Special Needs, Ibrahim is also getting to grips with the demands of the world of work.
They get basic help with things like academic, social, behavioral and work skills. We also prepare them for certain needs of the job market. We try to place our students in work experience to match the job with their abilities.
There are 64 students in this centre funded by the Qatari government and some private companies, and the staff offer differing levels of support depending on the disability. But the centre's training also extends beyond its students.
We educate the families and we encourage them to allow their students to take some risk. Going to work is a risk. You must get through traffic. There are sometimes machines at work. But we teach our clients to be very safe on the work site. We also push the parents to consider jobs that are a little out of the usual. Give an opportunity, let the student try it, and if he likes it, is he's good at it, then they proceed.
The teachers use techniques that rely heavily on practice and repetition. These students are exploring what it's like to have a job, acting out potential situations they might find in a real workplace. Students who graduate from this department often go on to work in an office, usually accompanied by a job coach from Shafala for the first 3 months. The students are so determined, but the challenges are big. The problem is that the number of jobs available is limited. The students get very excited, especially when their colleagues find a job while they're still looking. When they have to wait for a job vacancy to come up, they get disappointed. The centre works on finding jobs for their students, and 11 of them are now in work. Ibrahim, though, is still waiting.
In Malta, one organization says we're all in the same boat. That's the motto of a regatta which aims to give disabled people new horizons by giving them and their families the opportunity to go sailing.
A small sailing school in Malta is using sea, surf and sport to help bring out abilities that are often hidden. The 11th sailing regatta set off from Valletta's Old Harbour with 200 people from 16 Mediterranean countries on board. Young people with differing disabilities, along with their families, friends and social workers. I've seen sea, waves, sky and sun. Tommaso has been sailing for 10 years. Now, in his early 20s, he's become a dinghy sailing instructor. And his mother is delighted.
It's wonderful that he goes on a boat with the waves without fear. He was scared to go on the slide. I spent 7 months teaching him to ride a bike because he was scared. But with the boat, it was like magic.
And here, Tommaso feels like everybody else. We're all in the same boat means that we picked the boat as a place to establish the helping relationship. I think this relationship is the most important thing in our lives. To make a horizontal connection with others, where there's no hierarchy, so that it's possible to give and receive help easily. All of that happens naturally on a boat. At a 3-day conference, delegates who work with people with disabilities pressed home the importance of inclusion, stressing that there should never be a them and us in education. And to that end in Malta, music played as much a role as sailing.
That's it for now, but we'd love to hear your thoughts on special needs and inclusion. So why not get in touch via our social media pages? And before we go, a word about our schools and gender subjects. While the trend for single-sex schooling is growing in some countries, most of our fans on social media voted against it. Well, hope you've enjoyed the program. Goodbye.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.